Imagine you're reading a story in English and you see the letter T, and you think, how should I pronounce that T? If the T is in the middle of the word castle and you think that should be pronounced as T, get ready for an eye-opening lesson about 5 different ways that the T can be pronounced. I'll be using a sentence that has all 5 different ways that the T can be pronounced that I'm teaching in this lesson. The sentence goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a great nation whose queen lived in a castle with her 2 sisters, her daughter, and her Aunt Beatrice. In that sentence are 5 of the different ways T can be pronounced. That would be the pure T, the T sounding as D, silence, a glottal stop, and the sh sound. I won't be getting into the TH in this lesson. The TH deserves a whole lesson all on its own. This is English with Rick, and in this lesson you will learn how and when to pronounce 5 of the different sounds the letter T can make. Let's begin with the pure T sound, and you can hear the pure T sound several times in the sentence, once upon a time there was a great nation whose queen lived in a castle with her 2 sisters, her daughter, and her Aunt Beatrice. The pure T is in the words time, 2, sisters, and also in the name Beatrice. The first step to making the pure T sound is to hold air back in your mouth. Do this by pressing the tip of your tongue against your front top teeth and against the tooth ridge. The sides of your tongue press against the back upper side teeth. The pure T sound is actually made when you release air from your mouth by letting your tongue drop from touching the tooth ridge and the front teeth. The pure T sound is not a voiced sound, so what that means is your throat is not involved in making any of the pure T sound. You should also know that more air is released for a pure T than for a D sound, and you'll especially hear this when it's the first sound of a word or the first sound of a syllable. It's one thing to know how to make the pure T sound. Another thing you need to know is when you pronounce the letter T as a pure T sound. This happens at the beginning of words, and examples of that are type, tomorrow, and top. The T is pronounced as a pure T when it's the first sound in a syllable, and this often happens when you see 2 T's together. An example of this is in the words attack, activity, and potato. Another time that the T is pronounced as a pure T is when it's part of a consonant cluster. This only happens if the sound before the T is a consonant cluster sound other than an R or an R-controlled vowel. This happens at the beginning of a word in words like story, start, strange, street, try, and trip. The pure T happens at the end of a word in a consonant cluster in words like left, melt, sort, past, bent, and fault. When you see D in a word, it's pronounced like a pure T when it's after the unvoiced consonant sounds F, P, S, K, TH, SH, and CH. Some example words are stopped, kissed, and watched. I'd like you to listen to that sentence that starts off once upon a time, but this time I'd like you to read along and listen for the T that sounds like a D. Once upon a time, there was a great nation whose queen lived in a castle with her 2 sisters, her daughter, and her Aunt Beatrice. Did you notice the T that's pronounced like a D? It's in the word daughter. The D sound is a lot like the T sound. One big difference, though, is that it's voiced. so your throat is used to make the D sound, but it's not for the pure T. But other than that, your tongue is in about the same place up near your tooth ridge and against your front teeth where you're blocking air. A difference is that your tongue is a little bit further back from your tooth ridge for the D than it is for the T sound. Your tongue touches your side teeth at the back, and the D sound is made when air is released. Less air is released for the D sound than for the T. Once again, it's important to know when to pronounce the T as D. This happens when the T is between a couple of vowels or diphthong sounds. In that case, T is pronounced as a D sound. Here are some examples of words that have the T pronounced as a D because it's between vowels or diphthongs. Fatty, daughter, bottle, and letter. I'd like you to listen to that sentence that you've been listening to throughout this lesson one more time. This time, listen for the glottal stop. The glottal stop is written as a T, but it just stops before it becomes a sound. So listen for the T that's pronounced like a glottal stop. It happens twice in this sentence. Once upon a time, there was a great nation whose queen lived in a castle with her 2 sisters, her daughter, and her Aunt Beatrice. Could you tell where the glottal stop was? If you couldn't, just rewind this recording and play it again a few times, this sentence, and listen for the glottal stop. That T glottal stop sound is in the words great and aunt. And you can tell it's a glottal stop sound because you stop air instead of stopping and releasing air. By the way, I use the words glottal stop because if you go on the internet looking for more information about the sound, those are the words that you need to use to find that information. For the T glottal stop, your tongue is in the same position against the roof of your mouth at the front where your tooth ridge is, behind your front teeth, and you stop air there and don't release it. That makes the glottal stop sound. Sometimes the T glottal stop sound is made by stopping air in your mouth with your tongue and also with your throat. The T glottal stop is a voiced sound. You use your throat to make this sound. The T sound is pronounced as a glottal stop when it's between a vowel sound, N sound, or R sound, and an N, M, or L sound. When T is not followed by a vowel, it can be pronounced by closing your throat quickly in addition to using the tip of your tongue to stop air. Here are some words that have a T or a double T in them that use the glottal stop sound. Button, hitman, mountain, witness. If the letter T appears in a word between 2 consonants and not pronouncing the T makes it easier to pronounce the word, then the T will be silent. In that sentence that starts once upon a time, the word castle has a silent T because it's between an S and an L. Here are some other words that have a silent T because the T is between 2 consonants. Listen, whistle, often, and mortgage. A T can also be silent if someone is speaking fast. The final sound we're going to look at in this lesson that the T can make is just plain weird, because it doesn't look at all like the T should make that sound when you see it spelled in a word. In that phrase that starts with once upon a time, you'll see the word nation, and there's no way it looks like the T should be making that kind of a sound there. It makes the weird sound sh, because the T is in front of a few other letters. Those letters are T-I-O-N, and the letters T-I-E-N, both combinations, they cause the same sound. When those four letters appear together, the T makes the sh sound. To make the sh sound, you need to know that it's not voiced, so your throat is not used to make the sound. Your tongue forms a wide groove that goes from the back to the front of your mouth, and you force air through it to make the sh sound. The back sides of your tongue can touch the side teeth at the back of your mouth as well. Your lips should be tense, and they stick out a little bit when you make the sh sound. It's a continuous sound. It means that you can make it for a long time. Shh, as long as you have air in you. You now know why you pronounce the T that's part of those four letters, T-I-O-N or T-I-E-N, as the sh sound. Here are some words that have that sh sound in them because of those four letters. Addition, nation, occupation, and patient. I hope you learned a lot.